Hello and welcome to one of those videos where I talk about the maps coming in Project Caesar. And today, of course, we're looking at the Indonesian islands and everything that comes in there. And yeah, without further ado, let's just have a look and see what's coming. So, welcome to another week's edition of the maps of Project Caesar. Hope you have your boat prepared, because today we're doing some island hopping, looking at the archipelago of Indonesia. And yeah, there's quite a lot going on. So, for starters, the island of Sulawesi, the one that looks like a K, in EU4, there's like 2 tags and a whole bunch of uncolonized. Here, everything is colonized. Absolutely everything is colonized. It is, I mean, this is a wasteland. This is a wasteland. Up here is a wasteland. But all of these are actual tags that exist at the start of the game, which is definitely a surprise to me. Of course, you do still have a bunch of uncolonized islands dotted around here, but yeah, for sure this was a big surprise to me. But yeah, no, that's really cool. Obviously, we can have a look at it with the wastelands colored in. I don't think that changes too much of what we're seeing. Maybe a little bit in Palembang and Majapahit, but yeah. And what's cool is we're gonna have to zoom in just to see countries. Again, looking at Sulawesi here, we can see just how many tags there's going to be. Bone is the one that people will recognize, and Batua here as well. And I'm pretty sure those are the only ones that are in EU4. And now they're joined by the Kingdom of Lua, and yeah, just a whole host of other tags joining them, which is, you know, kind of awesome. And then we're looking at the Philippines here, Tondo being very familiar to people, Madias as well, potentially, and then more besides. And obviously there's still some colonizable land there as well. Very cool, very cool. Very wide area filled with many countries. Obviously the most important emerging power is Mahajapit, Majapahit, Mapajahit, Mahapajit, Mapajahit. Majapahit. And wasn't it Rumba that first came up with this joke in the, you know, paradox sphere? I feel like it was. But hey, it took off, so why not? Originating from Java, and who are taking advantage of the vacuum created by the disappearance of the Srivijaya, I apologize for butchering that, empire, to conquer or subjugate many of the Malay polities, to establish a new thalassocratic empire. On the island of Borneo, the Kingdom of Brunei is extending its territory with the subjugation of many countries in the Philippines, where the Kingdom of Tondo establishes a certain hegemony, but with still many other polities in the islands that could easily take its place. On the Celebes Islands, which is... that's Sulawesi, I apologize, maybe I should have been calling it Celebes instead. The island is divided into multiple countries, with the Kingdom of Luwu, starting with an L. Ew. I probably should cut that out. Damn. Never gonna live that one down. Establishing a firm presence. Further east, Tidore and Ternate. Again, I think it's like Ternate or I definitely can't pronounce it properly. Are ready to also be very influential polities in the region, despite their humble origins in their small islands. Societies of Pops. I was expecting a lot of societies of Pops, and they turned out to be actual countries. So I'm not actually that sad, really, that we have only... I can't read that, it's too small. And I can't read that, it's too small. I'm not that sad that that's all we're getting. I was expecting, you know, Sulawesi to be very full of societies of Pops, expecting the same of Borneo. And they're just countries, so only the Orang Asli in the Malay Peninsula and the Ilocos people in the northern Philippines. Cool. As for dynasties, I'd say, you know, these don't mean much to me. I don't recognize any of the names, but I don't know if they are names that are historical or if they are generated. I think Sunda, that one is definitely the correct one, because that's the name of the country as well, I think. At least it was in E4. The name of the country is now what? I think it is still Sunda. Yeah, it is. Okay. So that's the Sunda Kingdom. Very cool. Not much to say here, as much of the dynasties are generated due to lack of data. Notable exceptions to that are, of course, the Rajasa dynasty of Majapahit and the Maoli dynasty of the Malayu kingdom. Okay. As for locations, this is the one that I'm like, bruh, what the hell? Because, yeah. Let's, for example, take a look at the Philippines. What is going on? That is incredibly dense. So incredibly dense with provinces, with locations, with islands. Like, it's crazy. And then again, southern Philippines. Like, having to put the Philippines in two zoomed in maps is crazy. Absolutely crazy. They are going above and beyond here. I just think, yeah. I love it though. I think it's amazing to have this many. Like, look at Sulawesi, Celebes. That's insane. That's an insane amount of locations. It's an insane amount of locations. And then of course the islands stringing off from Java. And yes, the reason I'm looking over to my right is because I have. Like, I don't know the names of all of these islands, so I needed a map. But yeah, no, just the amount of density on these is really quite impressive. And then of course Java getting a ton as well. You'd love to see it. You'd love to see it. It is a fantastic improvement to what we're getting. Love it. Absolutely love it. Hugely dense. As for provinces, this is slightly more like recognizable to the EU4 brains among you. But even still, like there's more locations in Borneo, because in EU4, of course, the jungle in the center is just one big ass wasteland that you can't go into. But yeah, no, there's a ton here. Love that. Still lots of islands. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. A big fan of this. I have seen some people say, I've seen it very often actually. The amount of locations is going to make my computer melt, or oh, what kind of NASA bullshit is this, or really hammering home the idea that lots and lots of locations is going to mean the heat death of the computer verse, and that's just not really technically true. I mean, yes, more locations will be an increase in performance need, but the amount of performance need is absolutely negligible. It's all really got to do with what you do with them, and I think on a scale of what it causes the most performance impact, adding more locations compared to adding more pops is just completely, like I say, it's completely negligible. I don't think having more locations is going to be the thing that kills your computer. I don't think that if you are playing this on a weak computer and you mod it to, remove a bunch of the locations, 27,000, maybe use a mod to merge a ton of them, and so you've only got a 10,000 location game. If your computer couldn't run the original one, it's probably not going to run your modded one either, just because that's just not the performance impact. So hopefully this will, it's probably not going to, hopefully this will assuage some of those fears. But moving on to areas, that definitely just looks like the Indonesian coast. Yep, the name of the sea is still encroaching on the land. It'll be solved eventually. Fortunately, the islands make it quite easy to find the areas in this game. I like this map mode. I really do. I think this map mode looks awesome. If it wasn't for Indonesian coast being over it, it looks so like vibrant. I'm a big fan of the colors here. As for terrain, this is an interesting one. Lots of flatland, some coastal oceans all over the place, some narrows here and there, wetlands, hills, mountains, you name it. It's kind of got it all. Even a bit of plateau, which is not something I was expecting. However, for vegetation, it's a whole lot of jungle, some forest, some farmlands as well there, it seems, and some grasslands. Very nice indeed. And then, of course, Manila also being a bit more, not developed, but less vegetated. And then the climate is a whole bunch of tropical and then oceanic here on the mountains in Sumatra, a little bit in Celebes as well. Very cool. Vegetation and climate is almost uniform with tropical jungle, while the topography makes it generally to be quite rugged, with flatlands being present only on the bigger islands. As for development, it is not a hugely developed region. You know, Majapahit's got a little bit of development there. Manila, no, not really Manila. Yeah, it's kind of just Majapahit and maybe a tiny bit in Palembang. Not a very developed area, but natural harbors. No one's surprised that Singapore and Manila turned out to be such good harbors. Yeah, Singapore, hugely. And then Manila, of course, as well. And then this one here in Majapahit, also very, very good good harbor. I'm not sure what that is called today, but I'm sure I'm going to be, you know, pointed and laughed at for not knowing. As for cultures, there's a lot of them. So zooming in a little bit here, yeah. Like every island, like this looks like a province map mode or a location map mode. But let's zoom in on that, and yeah, it gets just. This is the culture map mode. That is wild. Tagalog is one of the biggest languages, I believe, in the Philippines today. So yeah, very, very nice. That's just such density. And then again on Celebes, a little bit more uniform in the south. Javanese, across Javanese and Sundanese, splitting up the you know, the Javan island, of course. But yeah, very cool, very cool. And then moving up to the Malay Peninsula, very nice. I think this may be the most culturally diverse area we've presented until now. I would say it should remain the most culturally diverse area, because that's kind of true in real life as well. Again, I think I've mentioned this before, but as for, you know, languages, Indonesia is the country that has the most amount of recognized languages. And yeah, that tracks with what we're seeing here. Keep in mind that minorities have not been done yet, so there'll probably be more blending and variation in the end. Cool. As for religions, the fact we need to zoom in for religions is insane. Before presenting the religions of Indonesia, you might notice that the promise to break the animist religion into smaller ones is now in full effect. However, this is not going to be the final step, but an intermediate one. We created a lot of different culture-based religions where we knew that people had different beliefs and rights, and now we want to group them into broader categories that would make sense gameplay-wise, following similarities of beliefs, practices, or mythologies. Take an approximate example, the North American religions shown in the Tinto overview, Tinto Talks. In this regard, we'll appreciate any feedback about how to better group these religions. It makes it much easier for them to do it with your help. So yeah, hop on to the forums if you are. I mean, I know there is a pretty sizable player base of Paradox games in especially the Philippines. I can tell that from my own YouTube analytics. So if you are from there, or if you are a American of Filipino descent, head on to the forums and let the guys know there if you have knowledge on this, then, you know, let them know, and we can improve the game together. That's kind of the whole point of this. With that said, let's focus on Indonesia again. The region also has one of the most varied religion-wise. It's notable that the presence of Hinduism and Mahayana as the prominent countries in the area were Hindu Buddhists before the arrival of Islam, which is currently just starting to make its entrance into the north of Sumatra. So, zoom in. This is a religion map mode. This is a religion map mode. This is a religion map mode. That's kind of wild. I love that though. Religions here as well. Lots of Hindu in south of Borneo. Hindu on all of Sumatra, and then just this is a religion map mode, guys. Sunni at the very north of bloody Sumatra, and some Hindu there, and Mahayana. But yeah, now we're moving on to languages, and slightly less dense for languages here. Bornean, we got Malay, Javanese, Sundanese, Ilocano. I've not heard of that one before. And Visayan, and then Tagalog, of course. Celebic, Buginese, Gorontalo. Very nice. One thing I want to say regarding regarding languages, sorry. As for example, I saw someone getting surprised by the Mon language presence in the south of Malay Peninsula, is that we had to make some grouping of languages in certain areas. Among many other issues, languages need to have sets of names for characters, so in case we couldn't find a suitable big enough group of names for a language, we're forced to group it with another one, close in their linguistic group, even if just temporarily. Currently working on improving this so that we can have the best possible representation without having to compromise gameplay. So it's quite possible that some of the languages that we've been forced to group into bigger groups get further splits in the future. Also, dialects are not a thing yet when we do this area, so nothing about that is implemented here yet. Fair enough. So again, if you are knowledgeable about the languages of this region, then that's insane because there are a gajillion languages in this region. But yeah, if you are knowledgeable about the languages, then head onto the forums, let the guys know where they could improve and what changes they could make to make a better game. As for court languages, not a lot of difference with the normal languages map, except in those areas where a country is ruling over another culture, which will be mitigated once minorities are done. Alright, fair enough. Raw materials. Let us see what is going on in the Spice Islands. Where are the spices? What color are the spices? I actually don't see too much in the way of spices, surprisingly enough. Is that spice there? Is there a zoomed in look? Yes, there is. Okay, let's have a look. Got fruit here, pearls, rice, gold, of course. Very nice. Lots of lumber as well. And then here, lots of fish, lots of lumber. Copper, which is nice to see. I actually don't see any spices, which is actually kind of super surprising to me. Maybe in Sumatra we can see that's dyes there. Where do be the spices? Aha, there's one spices. There's another spices. Interesting. Maybe let's have a look at Sumatra. Some silver and gold. Got my medicaments. Lovely stuff. For a place called the Spice Islands, there's actually relatively sparse amount of spices on here. I mean, there's actually a few more here, but that's that was surprising. That's actually surprising. Mainly lumber due to so many jungles, but also some interesting resources here, and obviously quite a bit of spices in the Spice Islands. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I didn't see too much of that. Maybe, I mean, there's, like I said, there's more than you could find in Europe, of course, but at the same time, less than I was expecting. Let's say that. As for markets, these are the markets that we're getting. Temasek, which is based in, I think it's like the Singapore area. Berun, we got Manila, makes sense there. Ternate, Goa, and the Sunda Kelapa. As for market languages, this is just the language of the culture of the market center. So Malay, Sundanese, Buginese, Bornean, and Tagalog, and then Ternate as well. Population now. Majapahit is the most populated, which will help them become the regional hegemon that they historically were. They have 2.6 million, 1.7 million for Sunda. So you know, you add those numbers together, and you'll get what. If you play either of these, it's probably what you're going to be looking to get in your very first war, I would imagine. But yeah, that's cool there. And let's have a look at a closer map. Let me see just what is going on with the populations of the Philippines there. And of Borneo. Very sparse population at this point. And yeah. And that is back to the start. Okay. Interesting. I am very excited about this. Whether it is more along the lines of excited to play as them, I think Majapahit is going to be a fun country to play, always. Trying to, you know, grow their strength into what they historically were. Of course, could be a very fun campaign. But also, and this might be rotten Euro-coded brain, I always found, especially in multiplayer, fighting over this region is actually very, very fun as a colonizer as well. Colonizer versus colonized. Basically, if you start as Majapahit and then trying to fend off the Europeans, or starting as Japan and then trying to combat the Europeans for control of this area, it was always very much something I enjoyed in E4. So, yeah, I could definitely see this being a thing again. But I would like to know what you guys think. What do you imagine yourself playing here? Do you want to be the Dutch and, forming the Dutch East India Company? Or do you want to play as Majapahit or Palembang and try and fend off the arrival of spice whores? But, yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with this map. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, maybe click the like button. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what country you're most interested in playing in this region. And if you like what I do here, bringing the maps to you, then, click the subscribe button. And I will see you on potentially Sunday, where I look at the dev responses to the various things that have been going on in the forums this week. Thanks all for watching, and bye-bye.